Hey, welcome back. I am doing a little more work on the Tundra today. If you had seen some of my previous videos, I had put on a lift kit, which changed, and I also at that time changed the upper control arms. I wasn't quite happy with how they looked and were performing, so I went ahead and put the old ones back on. Today, I'm going to be changing those out for the TRD upper control arms, not the TRD Pro. Those are a little out of my budget. So these are the TRD Sport. I'll give you the part numbers, show you the parts here in a second, and I will walk you through the steps of changing an upper control arm and show you the difference between the stock standard and then the TRD upper control arms. Stick around, we'll walk through it. Okay, so the two part numbers we will be installing are the PT985-34310 and the 34320. Okay, first step that you want to do when you're changing the upper control arms is go ahead and open the hood, because we need to take off the air box, move the ECU from the driver's side, and then jack up the truck and put jack stands underneath, because you'll need to be taking off the front wheels. I'm going to start on the driver's side because it's the more involved side. The passenger side is pretty easy, and I like to finish up on the easy side. So I'll walk you through the steps of getting this off. I've got most of the tools here. First step is to loosen up the connection here on the air box and take off the MAF sensor, the plug, and then we'll just take this box out. All right, so once you have the two, the connection, MAF connection, and the hose clamp loosened up, this part is just held in by snaps on the bottom, so just pull it out, and then this pivots out. Your airbox is out. Next step before you start disconnecting the ECM is you need to disconnect the battery. In the iForce Max, the battery is here under the back seat. It's 10 millimeter here on the end. Loosen that up, disconnect your battery. All right, moving back up here into the engine compartment, there are a couple 12 millimeter bolts that we need to take out. The first one is down here. Those 12s or those 10s? Let's see. Those are still 10s. Go ahead and take the 10s out. There are three. There's one here, one under this bracket, or under the wiring loom. Once you have all three of those out, you're ready to disconnect the ECM itself, which if you look at these, it's simply push down. This one comes out, and then do the same here. You just need these two. And what we'll do is we'll lift this bracket up above this wiring harness when we're taking out the bolt down below. The next step here in this process is you want to take this bolt out. It's 12 millimeter. That will allow us to get this bracket out of the way, holding the sensor wire on. And then the final step, well, two more steps, is to take off this nut underneath, and then we'll release the upper control arm by tapping or expanding here to release this joint. Then the next is the long bolt in back. So as you can see up here, I've moved the ECM out of the way. I only have to undo the first two connections to get it out of the way so that I can move the bolt. When we come back down here, you'll see that we have enough room on this side to loosen up this bolt and then slide it all the way out. So I'll do that now. At this point, I leave the bolt in, even though I've removed the nut. Just kind of helps hold everything in place before I take this piece out, this nut off and this piece out. This nut here is a 19 millimeter. All right, at this point I have pretty much all the hardware separated that I need to. I'll just go ahead and tap that to release this joint. See that the joint popped. Now we're ready to take this bolt off, or this nut off, and then the bolt out. But before I do that, I always grab the next upper control arm so that I'm ready to put that in without having to worry about this area here. Okay, so you just want to, now we're ready out here. We'll start to pull this bolt all the way out. Upper control arm is out. Ready to put the new one in. So you'll go ahead and get the bolt started. And now it's just a simple reassemble everything because the bolt's all the way through. Go ahead and start the nut on the long bolt. It's 22 millimeters. And then get the castle nut on down here. So now's the time to tighten the bolts up before you go ahead and reassemble the airbox and tighten in the ECM up above. You'll want to torque this one down, otherwise you won't be able to get your torque wrench in there. Okay, torque this bolt up top to 171 foot-pounds, and this nut is 81. So here we're looking at the difference between the stock and the TRD. First thing you notice is that this is welded sheet metal type construction, and this is a forged unit. So it's cast, sorry, it's a cast unit that they machine out and finish. The first thing that I noticed when I set these two side by side is that the ball joint here is forward of the axle back there, or the bolt, and this side is further back. that would be to correct caster. And then if you look at the angle of the ball joint here compared to the ball joint here, it's different. So this is set up to accommodate for caster in the suspension geometry to correct that. Once you get these all installed, you're still going to want to do an alignment to get everything correct on the wheels. So the passenger side is much easier because we don't have anything to remove in the engine compartment. We just take the bolt out. After you do the same steps, tap on the nut or tap here to release the ball joint, remove the nuts, remove the nut and washer from the bolt up above, and then it's just slide it out. There is a wiring loom right there. You can see it kind of maybe right here behind the plastic, but if you slide that forward, the washer forward, you can slide the bolt out. Relatively easy. And that's all there is to it. Now we're ready to reassemble. All right, that's all there is to putting these upper control arms on. Pretty much, regardless of which make you use, which model you use, you follow the same procedure. After you get the airbox in, don't forget to hook your battery back up. If you're driving the iForce Max, it's under the back seat. If you're not, it's up here in the engine compartment. But just don't forget to put that back in. Don't forget to torque your wheel nuts. Those are 97 foot-pounds. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you have questions or comments. Thanks.